Ride the Wave Media and novel Daybreak by Crescent Communities present The Witch Movie Project.
Welcome to my lair. You are now in the witch's cauldron, and we are here to talk about witches today.
Yes, this is the Witch Movie Project, right, Courtney? We're still doing this.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun, has it not?
It's been a blast. I'm
Like,
having such a good time.
We've had some crazy stuff happen during the taping of this, during the recordings, all the way from getting stars of the movie themselves to come on the show.
I know, pure magic. We just
Pure
manifested it, and it just came into our lives.
Practical magic. Wait a minute, I just spoiled the movie for today. But they already read the title. They see this. They know. And they knew,
Yes.
if they knew you, people out there had to know that you were going to pick this movie, right?
Yes. I mean, I did host a party last year, practical magic movie party, for anybody who said they hadn't seen the movie before. And I was like, you're coming to my house, and we're doing midnight margaritas.
I love it. And you also host a podcast that you stole the name from the movie.
Yeah, it's definitely inspired. Yeah.
You didn't steal it. It's an homage, I believe, is what we would call that. You got an homage to the movie Practical Magic with your podcast, Practically Magic, which is found right here on Ride the Wave Media.
Yep.
Plug, cheap plug. I had to do that, So right.
You deserve it. You deserve all of it.
But let me hear about this midnight margarita party. What was this like?
Pretty lame, actually. No,
Sandra Bullock didn't show up?
It was a lot more fun in the movie. But I got a couple of friends over. We watched the movie. I got to share my my love for the movie, and that was good enough. I think it's just fun to get together with your friends.
Well, listen. Let's talk about the party that is not going to be lame for sure. That's coming up. That's centered around the witch.
Oh, much better.
Yeah, right? Centered around the Witch Movie Project. It's the live podcast taping and movie screening, plus the huge contest now, the costume contest.
Yeah.
Land of a Thousand Hills Coffee Shop is supplying the prizes for that. Novel Daybreak by Crescent Communities is the proud sponsor of this whole show, the Witch Movie Project. Live cake parties. Gonna crush it with. I can't wait to see what Carl.
Oh my gosh, her events are amazing. I was just thinking the other day about some of the birthday parties I've seen her put together. I mean, it rivals those Kardashian parties.
It does, and
it's pretty good.
What? And you know what? Carla loves Halloween, so I can't wait to see what she comes down there and tears it up with live cake parties. And don't forget, we got Stacy Milhorn out there at Pure Sweat and Float Studios in South Jordan. If you haven't done that yet, you guys got to go out there and get a float, because it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yep. Friend of mine just did the sauna when she was sick. She had all kinds of going on, and then she went and did the sauna. She's like, I feel a ton better.
Cleared her up. Huh? I did the same thing. It's wild. It's incredible. But right now, get cozy. Get some tequila, margaritas ready if you want to do that with us. But right now, we're going to get into Practical Magic, the 1998 witchy drama that's all about spells, sisterhood, and Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman looking like a dream team, right? Like they
oh my gosh.
In this.
I literally take their picture to my hairdresser from that movie, and I'm like, can you cut it? Can you style it? Can you do it exactly like that? I grew my hair out because of that movie. Of them.
So you had the hairstyle of Nicole Kidman and or which one? Which character did you have the hairstyle of? Both.
I mean, they're both they're like the Rachel from Friends, right? Of the witch community.
I love it. Now I love it.
Yeah. So
this movie though is directed by Griffin Dunn, and it's based on a novel by Alice Hoffmande. It's got a great mix of romance, tragedy, and a healthy sprinkle of supernatural antics, really, because you get to see this as the movie progresses. Is this the witch movie of all witch movies, Courtney? I'm gonna ask you that.
In my opinion, for sure, and hands down. Okay. So I know we've been going through a lot of different witch movies. We've done some family-friendly ones. We've done a lot of horror genre, which I love. I love. But there's no contest for me. that if you were to ask anyone who's like, what movie really truly depicts magic in the way that you understand it, the way magical people understand it, it's this movie.
Really?
And I did read the book years ago, by the way. It's very different. It's a very different feel. This is a little more whimsical, the movie. It kind of centers around Sally and Jilly, but the book centers more around Sally's girls. They're older in the book, and it's darker, it's a little slower, it's a little more kind of a different vibe. But yeah.
Does it still have that that complex feel of, is this a kid's thing or an adult thing? Does it still have that balance?
Yeah. I
Like
was
real
reading
balance?
about how the critics were really confused by it, and when the movie came out, I mean, the book is just straight up adult, you know, kind of a dark, magical sort of context. But when the movie came out, people were like, I'm so confused. Is this a kids movie? Because it's too adult to be a kids movie, and it's too kid to be an adult movie. And it wasn't like super great when it first came out box office wise,
Yeah,
but it has become like a cult classic. I mean, you can't like throw a rock in Halloween season without somebody mentioning practical magic, right?
absolutely. Now you got to point out also here that the time period that this came out in, 1998, is way different than 2024 right now, because to me, this is a kid's movie. Like, I watch it and
Yeah.
sure, there's language in there, but my kids are out there saying whatever
Oh, yeah.
already. So,
Yeah, my kids have all seen it
so it doesn't bother me. Like,
every year.
yeah, it doesn't bother me, but to me, it is a kid's movie. Um, or let's call it a family movie. I think it's more of a family
Yeah.
movie than
For
maybe
sure.
a kids movie, because it covers all of it. It's got the balance. Let's talk about the plot. It's Sally, Jilly, Owens. They're the
Mhm.
latest in a long line of witches cursed in
Yep.
love. They've almost got the same type of curse that our love witch had back in the other movie, right? The earlier this project with the
Yeah.
love witch. And
Yeah.
basically,
Interesting too that they thread that line through the like Puritans of the 17th century in New England. You know, here's their ancestor Maria, who is hated by the town, especially because the women want to protect their husbands from someone who has clearly some sexual energy. I don't know, you know, that's where a lot of that accusations come from anyway, right?
yeah, so that's got historical reference then, is what you're saying. Kind of what they
Yeah.
show here at the beginning of the movie and through the movie. And then basically what we find out is that every man who dares fall in love with an Owens woman meets a grim death. Like, it's they're done. Like, everybody that falls in love. Jilly gets tangled up with Jimmy. This dude's a creep. Like, is he not? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, we're like looking at the tropes of what makes a woman a witch and
yeah,
what makes her useful or how she's perceived by her community, right? So like Jilly has all this sexual energy, you know, Nicole Kidman. Oh my gosh. I have like a big girl crush on her. I can't
I
deny it.
feel
She's amazing.
she was in something just not long ago, and I was like, she still looks incredible. Like,
I know. Isn't she just like dripping with it? Like she's just like, I just imagine she walks into a room and everybody's like, oh, like
she's got an aura. She's got a
yeah,
witchy aura already. I think there's some
really
witches out in Hollywood. I do think some of them women are witches, and I don't mean that in a derogatory term, because
yeah,
I mean, hell,
powerful, right?
yeah, yeah,
Powerful women.
powerful. Very powerful. But
Yeah. But I have to highlight this generational curse we have here because in the healing work that I do, this is very much some of the healing work that's needed in like any family, not just witch families, but like generational things that have happened in your ancestry can affect generations beyond that. So knowing what their ancestor Maria went through when she was cast out from the community and she was labeled a witch, and now the Owens women have to relate with how that affects them throughout their lives and their love lives. That's very much a real thing. I mean, that's something that I work with people in the healing space is what sort of things didn't start with you that now you in your lifetime are having to deal with and heal and witness about yourself.
is that like a trauma therapy type thing, or what is
Yeah.
it? Yeah,
it is. It
dang.
really does.
So
It
what would
creates
a
trauma.
witch do in that situation to help somebody? Like what would you do? What would you do?
So for me personally, I use the healing techniques of Reiki and emotional processing. When I am with a client, I'm working emotional processing. We're pulling out energy and we're discovering what it is that needs to be moved, right? So in the movie, the way that Sally, so we're talking about young Sally in the beginning when she's making that love spell and she's
Yeah.
going around the greenhouse and because she's like, I never want to fall in love. She's seeing these women who are like tapping at the glass at her aunt's house, they're like crazy in love and they just want like love spells. They want someone to be obsessed with them. And this is like really exciting to Jilly. She's like, I can't wait to fall in love. And Sally is like, I never want to fall in love. This looks awful.
Yeah.
Looks horrible. So she goes around and she's picking petals off of plants, right? And she's putting it in a bowl. And it's almost like there's no official rule book about how this works. She's like, his favorite shape will be a star. And she
Yeah.
sees the petal that's a star shape and she puts it in her bowl. And I have done enough courses and classes on magic to know that this is more accurate than not. That when creating a spell, it's less important that you're getting the right ingredients and more important that you're infusing it with intention. So it's a lot like when little kids are making potions out of mud and sticks in their backyard. It really does look more like that than not. Like she's just like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to put that and I'm going to do that. And then she goes out and it's like full moon and she just lets the petals fly in the wind and voila, she's created a spell. But the spell is ultimately what helps break the curse, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of the plot. I didn't finish the initial just
The opening
outline, but basically after she gets with Jimmy to Crete, it all goes south. He meets his demise at the hands of the witches.
Yeah, self-defense. Self-defense.
Exactly. In witch style. It was witch style. And he doesn't stay dead. There's a ghostly showdown, some serious sisterhood bonding, and then finally she breaks the family curse. Like they break it at the end. But that's basically, that's the movie. That's the plot outline. But there's so much more to dig into. Like there is a lot to get into in this movie.
Yeah. The actual like love that breaks the curse between sisters, these blood sisters, right? Which by the way, Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman had spent so much time on set together in rehearsals and stuff. They, I think it was Sandra Bullock that said, I want Nicole Kidman. I want her to play my sister, and brought her in to the movie after she was cast. So the producers of the show were like, they actually became very much like sisters. They fought like sisters. They bonded like sisters. And I love hearing that because you see it come through in their performance. They're so sister-like. They're just so connected, right?
Yeah. So the dynamic of them on set, though, behind the scenes, they encountered kind of a weird, unexpected problem. And what it was Griffin Dunn, he's the director. He had Sandra Bullock on one side and Nicole Kidman on one side. And Sandra Bullock was doing all of her takes in 2-3 takes, done. Nicole Kidman, on the other hand, had just got done working with Stanley Kubrick for 18 months on Eyes Wide Shut. Now, Stanley is infamous or famous, whichever one you want to look at it, for doing like 70, 80 takes. So you had Sandra doing 2 or 3.
It's like, let's knock this out. Yeah.
And then Nicole Kidman needed like 70 or 80 takes for this. That had to cause some real on-set, fighting.
Yeah, I imagine so. I imagine Sandra Bullock just standing there going like, come on, what are we doing?
You can only take that so much when you're like, hey man, I'm done. Like get it together, like it's either that or I don't know if she was trying to be the perfectionist because that's what Kubrick was,
Yeah.
He had other movies. He had 2001 all those movies out there. He put so much effort into that it wasn't ever going to be 2-3 takes. So she had to get out of that mind frame. That to me that's a huge drastic difference when you're working on a film like that. So yeah, but
makes sense why Nicole Kidman was dripping with sexual energy after coming off of that movie, and then
It does, man.
to play a witch.
She just came out of 18 months of orgies. You know, that's what she been doing.
I mean, yeah, let's call it what it is. But yeah, speaking of done, and did you hear about the story? They had hired a witch to be a consultant on set, and I was thinking to myself when I read this, sign me up.
Yeah.
Who needs a witch to be a consultant on a movie stage? I will do it in a heartbeat. But apparently this witch didn't like what she was paid. She was asking for more money, and they were like, sorry, this is what's in your contract or whatever it is. And she cursed the set. And Dunn had to bring in some other, I don't know what who he brought in or what he did, but they held like with all of the actors, they held like a seance or a ceremony to break the curse or to cleanse the set of the curse. And he's quoted as saying, curses only have power if you believe in them. So apparently he believed that perhaps this curse was correct, it was real, and that he was like, well, you know, it won't hurt to maybe just bring somebody in and we'll just kind of cleanse the set of the curse that this.
No, that's wild. That's wild, because I've heard the stories about, you know, during filming, cast and crew, they would experience like strange, unexplained events. The clocks would stop at midnight, lights flickering, which that I guess did lead to the real exorcism on the set, if you want to call it
exorcism. That's
what it was. It had to have been an exorcism.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that while the Owens sisters were battling the undead lovers and family curses on the screen, that the cast and crew were really dealing with like seriously spooky stuff off screen? Like,
yeah. Which we have, this is not the first movie that we've reviewed on the Witch Movie Project podcast, where we've talked about like this kind of stuff happening behind the scenes, or like when you're delving into this world of magic, kind of being able to see what is the unseen, what are we not, you know, what are we experiencing here, right?
Like, that's dedication to the craft. I can tell you that, because I don't know if I'd stay on a movie set making a scary movie and there's really scary stuff going on. I'd probably take it as a sign, like, get the fuck out of there. I don't know.
Yeah, I hereby bless this podcast, and I hereby bless this podcast and ward off any energy that does not serve us. And there we are. So
now let's talk about the scene. You know which one? You had a party dedicated to this scene. It's the one where the witches bond over the midnight margaritas. It's honestly like a not just the most iconic moment in this movie, but it's an iconic moment in film, like, period. It's led to parties. It's led to practical magic parties, like you said. You can't be the only one that's ever done that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure not. And I honestly, like, I don't condone the idolization of alcoholism or anything like that. I'm just gonna put that out there. But I'm terrible at making margaritas. I don't know how to make a margarita. So I apologize to anybody who did come to my party, because I didn't know how to make them. But I love the like modern day reference of the blender being the cauldron.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Great point. Now that's a super cool, like you said, modernization of the old black cauldron that we always picture.
Yep. It just goes to show you, it doesn't have to be, you know, ancient times. We don't have to have this big black cauldron over a roaring fire. We can have a modern version of our witchcraft, and it can look like whatever intention we infuse it with. So let that be known to all of you seeking witchcraft.
Now, I heard that the potions they were brewing up with these margaritas, I heard that they were actually drinking alcohol, bad tequila on set, and getting drunk during these takes.
Yeah,
so
thanks to Nicole Kidman, is how the rumors go. She brought on some real tequila, and they actually, even I think everybody but the camera people who were
they had to hold it straight. I mean,
yeah, would have been directors, producers, everybody back behind the scene was.
It looked like this if the people had been drinking. Just tilted. It would have been on tilt.
They're just all, yeah. They forgot they were filming a movie. They're just like having a good time partying.
Hey, now that's the kind of film set I would like to be a part of, and not that supernatural stuff going on where it's clock stopping at midnight. Did they ever check the batteries, you think, on those clocks? I don't know. Just
Yeah, they're like, we forgot to pay the guy that normally
yeah, I don't know what
checks
happened.
clocks.
I don't know. I'm not sure there, but
Okay, but I do have to say, this scene always makes me think, as this and the part where they go to live, the young girls, Sally and Jilly, when they first come to live with the aunts, they're like, we eat chocolate cake for breakfast, we never brush our teeth, we never do homework, you know, and they're kind of like, whatever. And the midnight margarita scene and that both give me such a sense of relief, because there is a very powerful message in just that little bit, especially to women, which is, you don't have to behave and you don't have to like fall under societal norms, right? So like this waking up at midnight just to have midnight margaritas, it's like there's no rules. You know, there's any rules you think there are, they're pretend. Like there's somebody else's rules. We get to live by our own rules, and that is so freeing to someone like me. Like, yeah, why not?
that's an incredible takeaway from that scene. And it is so true that somebody else made the rules. Somebody else made the rules at all times, every rule.
Yeah. And usually the women who were accused of witchcraft, let's talk historically, are just women who didn't really want to live by those rules. Like they were women who were like, wait, this is not serving me. What if I make up my own rules and I live my life based on my rules? And that often got them into trouble, to be honest. But
Yeah, it did.
it's so freeing to realize that like I can wake up at midnight and it might not be midnight margaritas, but it can be midnight chocolate bars.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Whatever you want.
I love that. But let me go back to Hollywood and witches just
Mhm.
in general. I'm like, everybody back up here, because I might go off on a rant here about what Hollywood's done to the witches. They made them out to be tragically romantic figures doomed to lose in love. They try to find strength through the sisterhood. All the movies are basically the same about witches. And then Practical Magic, ultimate homage to this trope. Sally, Jilly, they're not just facing the external demons, but they got internal ones too. And
Mhm.
it's all this stuff going on. It's real life. There's romance, bond between the sisters that takes the center stage. They laugh, but fight. They did all this on set. This is really behind the scenes and on set. It all came across. And now it's a true sisterhood. But
Yes.
Hollywood has always tried to do these different things with what witchcraft and witches are. And I think this one says it a little bit different than what some of these other movies have. What do you
Mhm.
what do you got to say about that?
Throwback to my awesome interview with Robin Lively.
Go check that out if
so-
you haven't. Episode 3, Robin Lively.
So what do you have to say about that? I guess. Okay. So this is kind of like a great connection to the movie Frozen, right? Here we have like Disney's typical princess curse, whatever, true love will break the curse. What the movie Frozen did, and I think I can dare say this movie, Practical Magic, did before Frozen, was it showed that it wasn't the love of a man, it wasn't a masculine figure or the romantic love that was going to break this curse. It was sisterhood. It was the acceptance of them into their society. Like one of my favorite parts of this movie. I have a lot of favorite parts. But when she activates the phone tree and gets all the women who have been scared of them their whole lives and calling them witches, and they're like, I don't know, men die in the Owens family. I don't know how, but there's definitely a curse. And they're kind of scared. They're the ones throwing rocks at them when they're kids and calling them witch, bitch. And here's Sally, and she's activating the phone tree, which is like the PTA. It's like the moms of the town. And she's like, hey, so guess what? I am a witch. My sister's possessed. We're really going to need some help. Can you bring a broom and come over? And they do. They show up with brooms, these women who don't know anything and are honestly scared of what they didn't know. And even the one that was kind of the ringleader of the mommy moms, whatever you want to call them, Queen Bee.
Yeah.
She's like, well, thank you for coming. And she's like, oh, well, I've always wanted to see the inside of your house. She's like, secretly, they wanted to be a part of it. They didn't want to, they were just afraid of what they didn't know. And when they broke the barriers of that and created a sisterhood among the women of the town, that's when the curse actually broke. Not from finding love. It wasn't really, Sally and even her relationship with this sheriff guy, which was all great and everything. But it was like that sisterhood, right? Incredible.
You mentioned the house. We got to talk about the house.
We got to talk about the house.
Like, it's a dreamy Victorian house that we all wish we lived in this house, right? Like,
the house is a character itself.
It is. It really is.
Right?
They I think they built this thing out somewhere in Washington, Washington State.
Yeah, it's just a shell of a house.
Yeah.
From the outside scenes that they filmed, and then they did the inside scenes on a soundstage. But Barbra Streisand actually tried to buy the house. She offered to purchase it, and they were like, Babs.
Babs, it's not real. That's a true testament to what the house is. That's a true testament to it. If she tried to buy it because she thought it was real, that's awesome to me.
I mean, if I had money like Barbra Streisand, I would be offering to buy it too. But there was rumor about them releasing blueprints for the house a couple years ago. I remember everybody was really excited about it because it became available. Like someone had actually constructed blueprints for the house, and you could buy that and build it, I guess. So
really
amazing. But the aesthetic of this movie, the set, is such a icon that you see like videos of people all over the internet that are like decorating their house in practical magic aesthetic, right? Like black stairs and painted walls and the types of frames around their pictures, all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
I'll throw this out there. Maybe it happens subliminally because I just painted my wall black yesterday for some reason. Is that?
You were watching this movie, you were like, I just feel this vibe. I need it in my house.
Me and Lindsay, we painted the wall black yesterday. Don't know why.
I love it. Yeah. Dark walls are really in right now, design wise. They're ahead of their time.
I'm a little spooked out. I think Sandra Bullock got me.
She gets me too. Yeah. I love her.
Hey, let's talk about Jimmy.
Yeah.
This guy's a piece of shit, right? Like he's just trash. That's about the best word you could say for him. But
yeah, nobody's watching this movie and calling the Owens sisters the villains.
Yeah,
for killing this guy.
No,
and she even says, she's like, "Oh, you're gonna arrest me because there's one less Jimmy Antelope in the world." Like,
right now, this guy is Goran Visnjic. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but he's also been out in like Hellraiser and stuff like that, I believe. But he is a producer and everything else. But he got into this role, and I think he played it right. Like the fact that I'm sitting here saying this guy, he's a piece of shit. Played the role. He played it incredible.
Yeah.
Like that's all you can say for this guy. So.
Yes. The music that plays a part in many scenes in this movie, but "You Were Always on My Mind," Elvis, and then it comes back later when they're drunk on tequila and they're singing.
What a soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna get into that too, because this soundtrack really, to me, when I was watching the movie back, it's like a great time capsule that you open up.
Yeah.
And get to hear these songs. Like you've got the song you just mentioned. What was that one?
"You Were Always on My Mind."
Always on My Mind by,
and of course, the iconic kiss from the scene where they put the spell on Sally for her to meet her husband and Michael, and I mean, everybody knows that scene. Everybody loves that scene. This kiss.
That's
And
Faith
she's
Hill.
running down, and they like barely know each other, but she runs down the street and leaps into his arms. Oh my gosh.
That a
Iconic.
Faith Hill banger. This kid.
Right?
I don't even really listen to country music, but I know every word of that damn song.
I know,
really.
me too.
Wow. You
That's a good
even
one.
had some Marvin Gaye on there. You had who else was on this soundtrack? George Jones, Tammy Wynette, some more country music. Joni Mitchell was on there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's so many names on here that are Stevie Nicks, Sheryl Crow.
Oh yeah, Stevie Nicks. Yes.
Stevie Nicks and Sheryl Crow, they produced and performed 2 different songs on this soundtrack.
They really had to the witchy vibes, right?
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks. You can't, I mean, please.
Stevie Nicks was been a witch in another. She was on American Horror Story season whatever with Coven. I believe she was in one of those.
Yeah.
It was the second time Coven came back around with American Horror Story. I watched that. I loved it. I loved Stevie Nicks in a witch role. We should see more of that. We should see if we can get Stevie Nicks out there a gig. Maybe I'll have to get a agent fee if I can get her another witch gig out there. Hit us up, Stevie. Hit us up if you need some work.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet she's not suffering, but
yeah, I don't think so.
But I know this is kind of like taking a little tangent. Okay. So the Kiss song that comes on, I have to talk about the ants. All right. So when I first watched this movie, I was a kid, right? I was a teenager when this came out, and a young teenager, if you don't mind me saying. I was a young teenager when this came out. And of course, I wanted to be Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. I wanted to be them. You know, the young, hip, I don't know, just awesome witches that they were. Now that I'm a little bit older, a little bit, not much, but a little bit older, I identify with the ants so much more now. And now it would be like my dream to live as one of the ants in a big old Victorian house with my sisters and nieces or whatever, and spinning wool and doing love spells and cooking and have a greenhouse and whatever it is they do with their time, having tea parties on the lawn with your kitty cats.
It sounds amazing. I'm in.
Yeah, they're amazing, but played by Diane West, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And who is it? Oh, Stalker Channing. The Franny, right? They are amazing. But Diane West particularly has some of the best lines in this whole movie. So when the Kiss song starts up and she turns to the camera, like camera behind her, and she turns her head and she just says, "Most excellent." That is one of my favorite lines.
I love it.
I quote it all the time. You would not believe how many times that comes up in my life. And my favorite line of hers is when they're leaving Sally's leaving to go get Jilly. She's in trouble, so she's leaving. And she's like, "You're going to have to take the girls, her daughters, with them to the solstice celebration." And she's like, "Don't let them dance naked under the full moon." And my favorite line that Jet says is, "Oh, you know that nudity is optional, as you well remember." That is my favorite line. I use it all the time.
I loved it too. It stood out to me. I laughed at that one. I thought it was great.
Remember. So when people say, "Oh, you know, you're going to go dancing naked under the full moon," I'm like, well, nudity is always optional, as you well remember.
As you well remember.
Yep. If I grow up to be the ants, I will be pleased as punch. That would be my dream.
You think that changed with age? As you got wiser?
Yeah, maybe. And maybe like, you know, when you're younger, especially, you know, women, we're taught that like our romantic connection, like finding your prince or your knight or your, you know, your person is what it's all about. And then I think you reach a certain age where you go, yeah, having love in my life is great, but it's not everything, right? Like there is a whole me independent of who I am as a wife or as a mother or a girlfriend or whatever it is. It's like there's a whole me there. And I think what the ants represent is that coming into their age and their wisdom as like wholly themselves. I mean, these women are not participating in any social norms. Like they're just like, I wear what I want, I do what I want.
I drink at midnight.
Right? That becomes kind of a priority after a while. You start to be like, actually, my happiness depends on me, not my connections to someone else, right?
That's a good just metaphor to pull out of that for life.
Yeah.
In general, like it really is. What's your final thoughts on this? You got final thoughts on this?
A couple of witchy things if people are interested. So they're doing the spell that brings Jimmy back to life.
Resurrection.
Yes, that's, you know, brings him back as something dark. So the aunts were warning, like, don't do that. They realized it was a big mistake. But I do want to point out, they do say Hecate, make it right. They mention Hecate. So Hecate is a goddess of witchcraft.
Okay.
And so she's well known in kind of mythology as the witch goddess. She is associated with the forest animals. She's one that never has a partner and does not have children. So she's not necessarily a mother figure unless you count the fact that she mothers all animals of the forest. And she's kind of a midwife of the goddesses. So she's there during childbirth. She's associated with childbirth in that way. And she guards the portal to the other world. So when they're like, you know, invoking Hecate, or they're basically kind of like invoking that portal to open to bring his soul back from the underworld or from the other world to come back. So this is something cool that connects you with the folklore of where that came from, why they talk about that.
I love that. It's almost like a little Easter egg there because they don't give you any of that info. And
yeah, you wouldn't know.
I was going to ask you about that name that they were saying, and I wondered when I heard it if it was real or if it was something they just added to the script. So I think that's a great insight. Hecate? What's the name?
Hecate.
Hecate.
Yeah. She's her symbol is often represented as keys, like those old, you know,
like
iron keys that you see that are like, So when people wear those as talismans or as symbols, they're often connecting it with Hecate. And then they're, you know, moving their hands over his body like this.
Yeah.
That's very much like a Reiki type of healing. For those who practice Reiki and energy work, there's a lot of that. That's what that looks like. So if anyone was ever curious what it might look like to go into a Reiki session, that's what they're doing.
Just watch this scene. Watch that one.
Yeah. You know, and hopefully you're not dead while it's happening.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, some cool little things there. And then they did talk about when she's making the potion for the pancake syrup, the banishing spell to get rid of the sheriff. Jilly's talking about the Eye of Newt. You often hear about Eye of Newt in a you know, witch's spell or a cauldron or whatever, and it's actually just mustard seed. So a lot of recipes and grimoires from actual witches, which I actually did just see one. It was like a 400-year-old actual witches grimoire I got to see at a rare book event.
What?
And handwritten, and it had a curse lined into it. So we were not allowed to take pictures of it because it was cursed. So didn't want that. But it actually said on the grimoire, book of recipes, and they were witches spells. But when they say Eye of Newt, they're talking about mustard seed. So just a little fun fact.
Let me jump in here. How often do you make a spell or a potion or whatever?
I have not dabbled in making my own spells, although I would really like to. Most of the time I'm just researching what other people have done and trying to figure out like, but the thing to remember about making spells or anything like that is there are certain things that have been handed down generation to generation for however many hundreds of years. And you have to believe in some part that this wouldn't have been widely known or handed down for no reason, right?
Yeah.
Like people to say Eye of Newt, or you need a green candle for this spell. there is something to be said about using what's in the spell, because someone has tried it, tested it, and it must have been proven somewhat effective.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, making your own spells is a lot like Sally, the young Sally, which is just, as long as you're infusing your intention into the spell, that's what matters most. So it can be whatever you've got lying around the house, whatever you've got in your yard, whatever you happen to forage on your next hike, you can use that in a spell.
All right, good to know. So you don't have to go get the Eye of Newt and Frog's Tongue and Monkey
Which, I
Blood.
mean, you know, isn't even probably what it sounds like it was.
Yeah.
Frog's tongue might be a plant that looks like a frog's tongue, and so they call it that, you know.
I see.
Scary as you might think.
So tell me more. You had a couple more things there on practical magic.
Oh my goodness, so much. This movie is amazing, and I just I love, okay, so I wanted to point out the ants. You see them in several scenes, right? They're spinning and they have cabinets in their home full of wool and things like that. And I wanted to point out that a lot of people accused of witchcraft, a lot of women accused of witchcraft in history, were craftswomen.
Oh.
They were artists. They were, you know, they had a skill of some kind. Like, these women are spinning wool, and spinning wool, or doing any kind of spinning work where there's like the spinning wheel, is a great way to get into a trance and to do channeling or kind of like scrying in a mirror. You know how when you look at water and the sun is just kind of sparkling on the water and it just creates this kind of effect? Staring into that for a few minutes until your eyes kind of gloss over. That's what scrying feels like. That's what people are doing. They're like using that to tap into a different sense so they can channel messages of whatever it is that they're trying to get. So these ants are spinning wool. They're probably making money off of their wool. That's probably like how they make a living, but they also can do witchcraft while doing their work. So
wow, okay.
Just gonna point that out.
Okay. That's
yeah. And that's the best of what I have.
That's the best of what you have. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I loved it. I haven't seen this movie in a while. Let me think here. It was fun to watch the bad guy pay.
Mm-hmm.
The margarita scene, iconic.
Yeah.
Actually, that's all I gotta say.
It's a great movie.
I mean, it's
my favorite.
I mean, you do have to remember that practical magic is not just about the casting of the spells, but it's casting out things that hold us back, and embracing the magic within our own lives. I think is what it really boils down to, and that's what I saw.
Yep.
This movie holds up. It's gonna hold up forever. Like this is one of those.
I think so. Yeah, I think it'll continue to be a favorite. And personally, you know, even though I love the horror movie genre, I have props respect. I had to put this movie into our lineup because for me personally, it feels like a much more accurate depiction of what witchcraft feels like, at least for me. Right?
That's what we're going for.
Not something to be afraid of. And the town eventually realizes that they don't have to be afraid of the Owens sisters, that actually having them around is pretty helpful.
Let's get to our next movie.
Yes. And you hadn't seen this one before, right?
I might have seen like pieces of it, but just never knew that it came from this movie. Like it might have been, yeah. Long story short, no, I have not seen this movie.
And I love that. I love that you hadn't seen it, because that just makes me so excited to be like, here it is. Watch this great movie.
Oh, for everybody else out there, buckle up. But we're about to dive into the 1987 supernatural horror / comedy, The Witches of Eastwick. And George Miller directed it. I mean, it's based on a book too. John Updike wrote a book on this.
Yep.
So you already got some big names involved.
Yes.
Off the top. I didn't realize that the rest of this cast, what is there, like 5 Oscar winners, or at least nominated? Jack Nicholson, Cher, Susan Sarandon, Michelle Pfeiffer, like everybody in this movie is incredible.
Right? I mean, I was a little bit sad that we didn't maneuver our way to get to talk to Susan Sarandon when she was at FanX, but we did get to talk to a redheaded witch, so I'm good with it.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
happy. But some names that were considered for this movie, like even in the lineup it already has, was Jane Fonda, Meryl Streep, Angelica Houston, Goldie Hawn. So, I mean, could you imagine?
Oh, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild, the people that were involved in this. And honestly, watching the movie, like you're watching it, you're like, oh yeah, Cher, that couldn't have been cast any better. Oh yeah, that Michelle Pfeiffer, oh, that couldn't have been cast any better. Like, there's nobody better. They played the roles perfectly. I do know that when they were originally cast, I think Cher and Michelle Pfeiffer had the roles swapped, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd heard
yeah.
about that. And I think it was Cher that said, no, I want to play Alex. I think we should switch, because yeah, it ended up working out for the best. And I mean, I'm sad to say there was some contention about Cher being a part of it. Apparently the director was getting a lot of like pressure from producers when making this movie, and so there was all kinds of, contention, and he was like, I don't want Cher. And you have to love Cher and the story that they tell, because I mean, she's like, listen, I've won Academy Awards, you can take it or leave it, but I'm in this movie, just like
Right.
totally playing the I know my worth card, and I love
And
that.
yeah, she does that and does it well. And then I've also heard that on set, if she didn't have speaking lines, she asked to be released. Like, she wanted to be out of it. She denies that, but
So Nicole Kidman and Cher, maybe a little bit of divas on the set of these movies, we'll forgive them because their performance is awesome and
exactly.
made a great movie in
So
the end. So
I heard also on this that Cher and Michelle Pfeiffer, they didn't get along. I believe the two of those didn't get along at first, and it was because of that weird casting. And after they finally sat down and talked to each other, they found out it wasn't them; it was a producer that had kind of messed up
problems.
Yeah, lots of problems, according to the internets.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I appreciate that through all the trial and obstacles they must have had to fight to make this movie and to get it done, that they did, and that it was made and we get to enjoy it. In fact, just about everybody I talk to, when I tell them about the Witch Movie Project, they're like, are you doing Witches of Eastwick? And I'm like, of course. So it must be a favorite. It did really well when it came out. So
let's break down the plot.
Let's do it.
3 single ladies in Eastwick: Alex, Jane, Suki. They're feeling pretty down about their love lives. Here we go again with the love and the witches, until they conjure up a guy named Daryl Van Horn, played by Jack Nicholson. Now, sleaze, that's the only word that's the top.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But he waltzes into town, takes over this mansion,
seduces them.
Seduces all of them, not just one of them, all of them in different ways. Then it takes a dark turn because they figured out who Daryl really is, and gotta take matters into their own hands. That's pretty much the plot of this movie.
Yeah. Which is interesting because we watched The Witch or Bitch on another episode. If you haven't listened, go back and listen to that one, which kind of takes the idea of witches. The fear that people had about witches was that they were signing the devil's book. There was the same kind of plot lines happening in all the witch trials, which were like, you sign the devil's book, you're one of his coven, all of that. It made it into a horror movie. Like, what if this was real? What would this look like? And it's almost like this movie took it into a modern age. The same idea of like, these 3 women are caught up in the witches, in the devil's lair, and they got seduced by the devil, right?
Yeah. I wonder if we've talked about 3 witches and the devil on Walpurgisnacht over in Germany. I wonder if there's any, semblance, whatever symbolism here that matches to that in this story about Eastwick. Do you see any common denominator there other than the three witches? Like, that's all I can go on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's interesting that Walpurgisnacht is this celebration like that originated with getting rid of witches.
Yeah.
And then has been transferred into something where the pagan community like celebrates during that time. And the plot of this movie kind of, I don't know, coming full circle almost.
Yeah.
It's like these women finding their powers together, through this devil character, and then flipping the whole script into being released and independent from the devil, coming into their own, right? Interesting. Anyway,
the devil in this movie couldn't have been played by anybody else other than Jack Nicholson.
I know. I'll be honest. Okay, so when I was a kid, I used to watch this movie when it was like on TV, right? So it was usually the censored version. I did not 100% understand as a kid what was going on. I do remember thinking to myself, this guy's not really attractive.
Yeah.
Physically. Now as an adult, I'm like, well, he has a certain suaveness about him. I can kind of see that, the voice and all of that. But as a kid, I was like, I don't get what these women see in this guy. And then I remember being really confused about who is this guy's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I remember asking myself, like, wait, so all three of them are his girlfriend, but they all don't seem to mind that they're all sharing him? I was so confused as a kid. So it's so interesting how my like little kid brain and then bringing it into my adult self being like, yeah.
1987, once again, I have to bring up the time period, but polyamory wasn't a thing. Still not very favored now if you talk to general consensus, but it's probably a whole lot more open to now than it was then. So you being confused on that, you probably weren't the only one. Even as a kid, you weren't the only one.
I know. I was like, but they're all okay with it for some reason. So that was, it was eye-opening. I think it was good for me. It was good for me to keep an open mind as a kid growing up. I was like, oh, okay, to each their own, I suppose.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. But in being like the way that my kid self thought about Jack Nicholson, and perfect for this role, as which is essentially the devil. I mean, I don't think they're trying to hide the fact that he's supposed to play the devil or a devil. He even says in like one of the opening scenes, he's like, I'm just a horny little devil.
Does.
And
the seduction scene. I think it's when he's laying on the bed, and what a great scene that is.
So good. I have seen clips and recordings of Cher's speech in that scene, and it is still one of my favorite movie speeches of all time. The one where she goes off on him. You're repulsive. She just lays into him about how unattractive and how sleazy he is, which I love because I was thinking all the same things. I'm like, there's no way that I would have anything to do with this man if it was me. And yet somehow he is so charming, and he gives his speech about how you do the dishes will just be dirty again. If you clean up, they'll just be dirty again. If you make the beds, they'll just be slept in again. He just gives a speech where it's like, all that stuff you do doesn't matter. You might as well just do what you want and what you need to do.
Let's talk about that speech. That speech about women. That's the one you're talking about, I think.
Yeah.
To me, that he hit peak Nicholson here. It's the kind of monologue, really, it'll make it, like, literally made me say, did he just say that? Like, that's what it was.
I know.
And
I think he's seducing her with words.
He is, in all of his sleazy glory.
Yeah.
Literally, like, he delivers a monologue. It's both, here's the thing with this one, it's both infuriating and fascinating at the same time. Goes on about how men are scared of powerful women, how they call them witches and burn them at the stake because You can't handle your own insecurities. Still going on today, by the way. That's still,
For sure.
we're doing different ways of burning witches today.
Yeah.
But this speech, it's a wild ride. It makes you basically want to, like, I wanted to throw something at my screen, but I wanted to applaud. I wanted to clap at the same time.
I know. And he says, marriage, good for the man, kills the woman.
He does. He does. It's so over the top. But he's literally in this moment. I think he's channeling every devil character he ever plays, previous to this and after this, because it's all right here. Like, to me, like I said, peak Nicholson in the monologue. Like, it's
fantastic.
It is. It's a great speech, but at the same time, it's fucked up. You know?
I know. And yeah, I mean, the reason it's so enticing and I mean, you can see Cher's character, Alex, and she's not really reacting. She's almost leaned back and she's just listening, and she's like, who are you? Because it's like all these things he's saying, not wrong.
He's mansplaining.
He's mansplaining a woman's experience, right?
He's mansplaining to women how the world works and simultaneously trying to get in their pants.
Yeah.
What? Like, that's what it is.
Which I have to point out is very contradictory to then when they decide they need to. And by the way, they very gently just propose that maybe they all take a break from hanging out with each other when things get a little crazy.
Yeah.
We'll talk about like that. But when the three women gently suggest, you know, we should take a break from hanging out with each other. Obviously, we have a lot of power together when we're together, but things are getting a little crazy. Let's just take a break. Let's all, you know, not see each other for a little while. Reasonable, perfectly reasonable. And yet, this is when Daryl Van Horn takes this tantrum. And he's like, literally, when Alex comes to see him and talk to him, he is literally throwing a tantrum. He's ironing, and he's like, I'm ironing because nobody else will do it.
Yep.
And then he's like, what do all men want? And he's stomping his feet all over the floor. And he's like, I just want a little attention, a little gratitude, a little appreciation. And I'm like, wait, is this like opposite of his speech from the beginning, which is that women need to be appreciated and that women, you know, are holding up the world and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so now he's just acting like every other man that these women have probably experienced in their lifetime, which is like, wait, what?
And on that, I think it's the movie itself is just a critique on those attitudes. Like, they wanted him to go over the top like that, I think. And it comes back around to him in a satisfying way, basically. And then you find out, you know, the real stars of the movie are Cher, Sarandon, Pfeiffer, the witches.
Yeah.
And you find out that they are powerful women and they are not to be messed with, though.
Right.
So
I have a theory about this. You tell me what you think.
Okay.
I think because in the beginning they conjure him, right? They say, I want a dark prince on a dark horse. I want they
even say not too attractive. They even lay off.
Attractive.
They
was I'm like, all right.
Maybe if you read that back, they literally describe Jack Nicholson. I thought that was great. But go ahead. Yeah.
So they conjure him up. And then he wants the three of them at his house hanging out and doing their magic. He's fascinated by them. He's noticing what they've got going on, right? What if he himself is not that powerful? What if he needed them? And that's why he showed up, and he was like wanting them to be in his vicinity and his besties, because he probably didn't have enough power or whatever it was that he possessed. He needed them.
They did conjure him up.
Yeah.
He came.
Makes me wonder, because he got so upset when they were like, we need to chill. Like, we need to all separate because it's just a little too much for what's going on. People are getting hurt. We don't want people to get hurt. That wasn't our intention.
Yeah.
And I feel like he probably couldn't have done any of the magic or any of the power that he possessed. He couldn't have done it on his own. He needed them.
That's a different
That's my
take.
theory.
That's a different take. Now we got to go out there and watch it again. Watch the movie again and keep that idea in mind, that theory. I like that. Now you got me thinking. See, now I'm like, because we've kind of seen that in some of the other movies. We've seen that in a couple of other movies that we've talked about, where basically somebody was sucking the power off the other ones, and that's how they became who they were.
Yeah. Why else do witches need covens? They need more than, I mean, let's just look at Disney's Agatha All Along series that they've got going on right now. She needed to get a coven together to be able to perform as much magic as she needed to do the road. Anyway, so you need more than one. You need meet a few of you together. And the movie starts out with these women talking about how they're really sick of this one guy they work with, Walter, who's like a sexual predator and icky. And they're talking about, like, he hit on me right in front of his wife. His wife was sitting right there. Each of them has a story about Walter. They're like, he tried to hit on me too. He tried to do this to me. He tried to do that. He grabbed me, whatever. And they're basically talking about how they're just kind of sick of that. Like what does he think I am? So they were the ones that caused the rainstorm at the very beginning. And they're like, wait, just by thinking about it, all three of us thought the same thing. And then we caused the rainstorm to start on his speech, right?
Yeah.
So they realize they're powerful right from the very beginning.
But I don't think they realize the gravity that they could, of what they could do until later, though.
Yeah. Yeah. The scene with Felicia, Felicia.
Let's talk about Felicia and Clyde, because holy shit, like that's
right.
They're not even like like, this is in a movie, this is like your B plot. This is just a side plot or something, but they are just as good as anybody else in the movie. They're front and center to me. You got the infamous cherry
pit scene.
You got,
which was cut down, by the way. Did you?
I did. If you watch that scene close, you can tell it's cut down, because there's one shot and you can see the entire wall covered. Like, you can see way more vomit on the walls that didn't get shown. So you're like, wait, what happened? And then, yes, I did know that was a way longer scene. They had a robot or something that was supposed to do this, and spent a bunch of money on it, and that's all it got. That's all it was used for. So
yeah. My dad was watching the movie with me. He's like, I have to leave during this scene. I can't watch this. It's pretty rough.
It didn't bother me that much. I don't know why. It didn't. You know what though? You know what was weird? Was I was eating a yogurt and it was cherry at the same time. So I had the taste in my mouth. And I was like, huh. But I didn't feel sick. So
it was okay. It was all right. Well, I mean, right from the very start, after she has her fall down the stairs when Daryl first comes into town, and it's all, something's really weird about all this. Everyone's forgetting his name. They can't remember what his name was. And then they all remember this at once. And she has her accident, falls down the stairs, and she's never the same again. She was already kind of maybe a religious fanatic. You can kind of see hints of that in the beginning, but she was very much like sane.
Do you think that's why? Do you think that's why he affected her? Is she a conduit? Was she like the complete opposite, and she was like the good, and it was like, all right, I'm gonna get in? And
she's definitely an oracle of some kind, right? She's like, once she kind of loses it, loses her sanity a bit, she's talking about him in terms of like something's not right about him, and those women are getting caught up in him, and there's debauchery happening at that house. And she's kind of like, she reminds me in Bewitched, the neighbor that's always like peeking over the, she's looking, she knows something else is going on. She doesn't know what it is, but she's saying some pretty specific things that are accurate.
Yeah.
And she's even saying those poor women, like, she knows that they don't know that they're wrapped up in this, and that they are in danger, they're in trouble. And then she even predicts that they're going to have his sons, that he's going to want to procreate. And she says all this right before her untimely death. But yeah, she's kind of like an oracle. And like, if you look back in ancient history, there's a lot of hints at oracles and seers. And in Nordic tradition, there's the vulva. They are women who are, you know, they have a gift of being able to see or prophesy things. But they have fits. Like, they're not, there's some indication that they don't appear sane when they are having their oracle moment, when they're like, you know, speaking and prophesying. So that's what this reminded me of, is she's like unwell. She's kind of screaming.
Yeah.
And it's scary. And her husband is like,
You don't know what to do. He's drinking again. Clyde's drinking again. So he's got that going on. He doesn't know how to act. You got her saying all these things. She says, before she starts puking up the cherry pits, she says, he's trying to get inside of me. And she starts doing the squats. And that's real, though, because Daryl is trying to get inside of her, in her mind, in her whatever.
Yeah. And, like a possession.
He keeps feeding the girls cherries. Another cherry. He knows what's happening. He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
I found that very, I don't know. It was a moment in the movie where you're like, oh, there is a lot of power going on. Like, because up until then, she's just kind of, she fell. She could have fallen on her own. Some other stuff happened. She didn't eat any cherries.
Yeah. And she's just throwing up cherry pits. And oh, man. Yeah.
They said that robot was a real scene stealer on the set.
I know. It was very, I have to say, for the time period that this was filmed and everything else, it was very realistic. And I remember, like a physical reaction watching it when I was a kid. I remember thinking, oh, this is horrible. Like, I think I have a really visceral fear of throwing up anyway. Like, I'm the kind of person who, when I do get sick, I pretty much hold back from throwing up for as long as I possibly can. So maybe there's something to that. My own reaction to it is like, no.
Right? Let's talk about the town they're in.
Yeah. Pretty stereotypical, like New England type of feel, much like in Practical Magic.
Yeah, they were going to film this thing in Little Compton, Rhode Island, is where they originally had planned. But then I think they found out that, well, their town and their church was going to be used for witches, like a witch movie. And they said, nah. So imagine the uproar when they found that out. I mean, honestly, it's like inviting Dracula to a garlic festival. Like, that's what that would be. That's what it would be.
Yeah.
So what happened? They moved to Cohasset, Massachusetts.
Yes.
Where the locals there, they were way more chill, and they actually ended up being extras and on-set extras in the movie and then behind the scenes too. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to have all that fake vomit on them? I wonder who volunteered to do that for them or clean it up.
Yeah, because it's not just Felicia. It was Daryl at the end. They did the same trick on him. Oof.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I have flashes of Danny DeVito in that scene. Everything Danny DeVito is in, he just like gross, right? Like really disgusting scenes when he was Penguin and Batman and he was like eating a fish, or like every scene he's done in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. So his voice was like a little bit like drool coming down his face or something. And Jack Nicholson in that scene just reminded me of that.
That's funny. Speaking of Batman, not long after this movie, Jack Nicholson comes into the role of the Joker. There's a little Easter egg in this movie, though. There's a shot of a Joker behind Jack Nicholson in one of the scenes. Yeah. Go back and look.
Notice that.
I did. And Batman would have come out about a year after this, I guess. Well, give or take, year or two for the original. So I did notice that little Easter egg. Maybe that's just me.
And then you've got the connection with Michelle Pfeiffer being Catwoman.
Boom, there you go. Same movie, wasn't it?
Every Catwoman, she was in the
second one.
Yeah.
Second one.
He was in the first one. So every Catwoman that's ever played Catwoman since Michelle Pfeiffer has to live up to her, in my opinion. There's nothing like Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Her flips out of the building and then her look at the camera and saying meow. I'll never live that down. That's my favorite.
Halle Berry's up there for me. Halle Berry and
Oh
Michelle. Yeah, that's your two queens of
but I
cat.
digress. Again, just my girl crushes.
Right? What else you want to say about this movie? I got a lot I could say, but we better not go too long because
Yeah. Oh my gosh, both of these movies together, there's just so much. And so I think
I will say these two movies to me, I'm glad they got added to our project because they are quintessential movies for witch movies. Like these two, everything else is after this. Like really, like sure. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah. I was gonna like wrap up kind of the theme here in the way that I feel about kind of the theme of this movie for the three women. It's like liberation, right? I mean, Daryl Van Horn he sort of seduces them with the idea of let go of your inhibitions, right? I mean, you see that especially in the scene with Jane and the cello. She's extremely uptight, extremely reserved. She's a nervous wreck. You just see how very timid she is and
tight.
Yeah. And honestly, a reflection of women in general and how we're raised from little girls to be the right kind of woman, right? We're raised to be like, this is what men want as their wives. This is what a well-behaved woman looks like. This is what a good Christian woman looks like. You know, all of the ways that we're brought up to live inside of certain boundaries that are acceptable, which are, if anyone watched the Barbie movie, you can say impossible standards to live up to, right? And you see that in this scene with Jane. So she's playing the cello and he's the one that kind of liberates her from that.
What a scene.
Awakening her sexual energy and, you know, liberating her from her tightness into like play with passion, be yourself. Of course, the reaction from the town again is pretty stereotypical, is that they're all calling her a slut. The point where she's at the grocery store and she's just over there like she's eating chocolate and pickles out of a jar and she's like, oh, that chocolate's the best, I love that. And she's wearing whatever she feels good in and she's just being wholly herself. And then, you know, the women in the village, in the town, are like, slut, you know.
And she's looking at the newspaper, like there's newspaper and all
the rumors of what's going on at that house. And she's realizing like, oh, there are like consequences for living my life the way that I want to live it. But what they truly get to realize is that they are not beholden to this even masculine authority, which comes in the form of Daryl Van Horn. Like they're liberating themselves from society's expectations, and then eventually they have to liberate themselves from his expectations, even if he's the one that liberated them, right? It's like, they're he's the master of unmastered women is the quote that I'm using. So I was reading In Defense of Witches during the time that I was, you know, getting ready to review this movie. A book by Mona Chollet.
All right. Okay.
So In Defense of Witches is, you know, basically a book about, you know, the ramifications of witches throughout history in our socioeconomic world. And they actually started referencing this movie.
Really?
Like, okay. So this is what she says in this book. She's saying, what if instead of saying the devil, we replace the word devil with independence? What if in every witch trial that's ever gone on where women are like accused of signing the devil's book and being, you know, having the devil be their master, what if the devil is just their own independence?
I love it.
Now, you replace that in every story, including this one, these three women, and say at the end of this movie, when they finally get to use their powers to liberate themselves completely from his power and his being their master, that's when they're like really free.
I love that. It's like, but they had to come together because they got seduced separately, basically. And then when they come together is when they became powerful and
Yep. And they were able to overcome their jealousies or their egos or, you know, what they were looking for, each of them, and say, we can actually take back our power. Like we're the ones who have the power. that's where my theory comes in, where it's not him, it's them. He needed them.
I'm seeing it more clear now. He did.
Yeah.
I love this movie. My final thought on this movie is I'm gonna have to watch it again, especially after you just gave me all that theories and stuff. I'm like, not that I wasn't already, because like I said, man, with the cast like this, I'm surprised this one flew under my radar this long, really.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I really do. I like this movie. This is gonna be a Halloween tradition for me every year. I'm put this into my repertoire of movies, and I'll have to keep watching this because I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It's all over the top. Every bit of it was over the top in the best way, though. So
yeah. So our audience just needs to decide, because if my pick, before we even started any of these movies, if I was to pick our movie for the final movie screening event, it would be Practical Magic. So I guess we just have to wait and see. The audience needs to decide, of these movies, which is their favorite.
got to vote. But the event is October 26th, Saturday at Novel Daybreak by Crescent Communities. I can't wait for this event. You can get your tickets out there right now. You can find the event page. It's on Facebook. We got Land of a Thousand Hills donating prizes for our costume contest. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. You got yours already? I don't have mine yet.
Yep. I went down to Spark at Trolley Square. They've got some amazing outfits there. They have got our flyer up to sell tickets. So if you're looking for the tickets, you can look at the flyer that I'm gonna have up around town. Spirit Halloween was there yesterday, picked up some, they're open for the time being, the district. So we're getting our costumes ready. And I'm like, hey, you guys need to encourage people to buy up their costumes to get ready for this contest so they can win a gift card to the coffee shop, Land of a Thousand Hills.
I love that. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, get on out of here.
Yep. If you want to know more about spells and rituals and creating witchcraft, you can follow me on my podcast, Practically Magic.
Stole that name from the movie. Stole it. I'm kidding. It's a homage. Come on, guys out there. And magic's even spelled with a K. Come on.
Yeah.
Maybe spelled the same. Let me thank our sponsors. Novel Daybreak by Crescent Communities. Got to thank them. Proud sponsors of this entire project. Also, we got to thank Live Cake Parties. Who else we got, Courtney?
Pure Sweat and Float Studio in South Jordan. Thank you for supporting our project and allowing us to basically watch movies for fun.